For the draw today, can you give us your thoughts on today's game and the result?
For us on the road after a busy couple of weeks, it's an excellent point. With a little luck, you can come away with 3 today. You can also lose the game. So I think it's a fair point. Seattle is a very good team, an experienced team. For me, it's a very well-rounded team and a very difficult team to beat in Seattle on turf. So compliments to the players today. They played excellent. I thought the second half was quite disciplined defensively and set up our counterattacking quite nicely. Like I said, we nearly finished two of those attacks in the end. But we have to be happy with the point because that's all we get. And we'll move forward. But after 3 games, 7 points, I think we're extremely happy.
Okay, we'll open it up to Zoom. Go ahead, Michele.
Thank you. Hi, Coach. How are you? Congrats on the point. I wanted to ask you about the work that Sergi Palencia did today. You mentioned on Friday that it was important to occupy the space, especially against Jordan Morris. And on the first half, he didn't give Jordan an inch. And also, we saw Morris switching to the other side on the second half. What can you tell us about that? Thank you.
I knew Sergi would be fine. His attributes match up very well against players like Jordan Morris. So we knew he would just fine. He's a very smart player. We showed him some extra video on Jordan. And obviously the team tactics of Seattle and what they try to do in their build up and have him wide. So, Sergi has played at a high level his entire career. With never a doubt in my mind, but it was great to see him out there tonight perform extremely well, also with the ball. So we're happy to have him at LAFC.
Go ahead, Josh Gross.
Hey, Steve. What can you say about Aaron Long's performance and how he's starting to fit into the team and working with Jesus Murillo, who seems like he works with Giorgio or Aaron or Daniil, but he's sort of like the most consistent back there. How do you think he's gelled with Aaron as well? Thank you.
Just fine, as we had hoped. Aaron is used to playing the left center back position. Daniil can play across the back as well. And obviously Giorgio, and then Murray. So they've all gelled well. We mix and match in training to give them all time with one another because you never know when they'll have to play together. But we feel very comfortable with all 4 center backs on the field. Not at the same time, but at different times, of course, but in all variations. So Aaron had a good game. Won a lot of important balls on set pieces and off of crosses. In the second half, I thought his sliding through and covering the back of Cheeky Palacios was very good and exactly how we drew it up on the training pitch. So improving and getting used to our way of playing, especially when we have a little higher line. And I still think there's more improvement to come. And that's what we expect of Aaron.
Go ahead, Justin.
Hi, Coach. Just a couple quick ones on the squad for me. First part, is there some kind of agreement between the club and Chiellini that he will not play on turf? And then secondly, you told me at the beginning of the season that you knew your best 11, that it was defined. Would you say that it is at least possible Tillman's challenging Sifu for that second starting number 8 position at this point?
There's no agreement that any player will play on turf or not play on turf. We decide these things match to match, and we chose not to use Giorgio for this game. Regarding your second question, I also think it's always evolving, and your best 11 we choose every week for every single game. So your best 11 for this opponent could be with this group of players, and for next week it could be a different group of players. So we're constantly looking at where the opponents have weaknesses and where we can expose them and where our strengths. And how does it match up with our game model? And that's how we choose our best 11. So I know it's not the answer you wanted, but our best 11 we choose week to week.
Go ahead, Dylan Butler.
Hey, Steve, it at least from the outside looking in, had that sort of big game feel to it. They obviously won the Champions League last year, Cup and Supporter Shield for you. Even though it's early season, did it kind of feel like that for you? And also maybe that extra like edge or bite, it seemed like was there as well, that you'd maybe kind of see, later in the season or even in a playoff kind of game.
Absolutely. There were 22 fantastic players on the field today, and the more games the more games we have like that in MLS, the better we're all doing. And I thought it was a fun game to watch, a very close game. We always knew it would be decided by one play or one goal. And physically quite grueling, especially for us because of our congested schedule. But Seattle went through that last year successfully, and we're trying to do the same.
Last question from Fred Altieri.
Hi, Steve. Could you give us an assessment of your substitutions this today? And also, what are your priorities do you have priorities as far as adhering to certain decisions as far as substitutions go?
Assessment, I thought all of my choices were correct. I would give the coaching staff and myself an A+. I'm sorry, I don't know how to answer that question. I think that's your job to assess how we sub, but to take you through our deciding process is we look at players' minutes of accumulated over the past couple of weeks with Champions League and League and the amount of rest they have, how they recover from games. And then we go into games with an idea of how long they'll last. And then obviously our subjective opinion during those 90 minutes will help make those final decisions at who's feeling a little fatigued and who's dropped a little bit in. Timmy has had some fantastic couple of weeks with us, a great start at LAFC, but looked a little fatigued today and gave us his all for 60 minutes. And we decided to put Sifu in, who needed a little break too. The same goes for Carlos. And I thought Stipe came on very well for Carlos, who's obviously our captain and a very important part of this squad. And not everybody has to play 90 minutes every week. And something we stressed last year and something we will continue to stress this year. And I believe it was one of our strengths last year. When players do come on, they help decide games for us. And today it was true again.
And finally, you have to be fairly satisfied with the start your team is this year.
I'm very happy. I'm more than satisfied. We've won pretty much every game. We lost one in the Champions League, but I think you have to look at that game as over 180 minutes. So I think we've won 3 games and we tied 1. We're quite happy with the start. But to be honest with you, we also expect that of ourselves, and we expect to continue winning. We will now get some much needed rest, with the exception of our national team players. They will go on duty with their teams, and the rest will recover and get some needed rest and get ready for Dallas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.